Mm. All right. Well, first off, I'd like to thank you for doing this interview with the Hype Magazine tonight.
Oh man, thank you for having me.
And to get, yes, sir. And to get started, can you tell the fans and listeners who you are and where you're from?
Yeah. My name is Greg Old School Ice Gree Lewis, originally from Chicago, now residing in Los Angeles, California.
Okay, dope. Do you think coming from Chicago made it easier for you or harder for you to get into the music industry?
I mean, coming from Chicago, I would say it sharpened my sword, so to speak, because the grind Chicago doesn't have, well, didn't, I should say, at the time that I was making my mark in Chicago, there wasn't any outlets. There wasn't a way out. But the grind in Chicago was so hardcore that it sharpened our blade crazy. So when we went somewhere else that gave us a little bit of in, we would tear door down. So I would say Chicago made me very sharp, very ready for war, so to speak, and willing to work because I was so used to everything being so hard.
Yeah. Now, what made you want to get into the music industry and pursue this as your career in the first place?
I mean, I come from a family of musicians and singers. So talent, the whole artistry thing, and just I would say on my mother's side of the family. So I was introduced to music at a very young age, like musicianship. That is, when I say that. So it was something that was just always been a part of my life. I just made a decision, to become a MC or rhymer. You know what I mean.
Now, you said your music, with your mom, but who were some of your early mentors when you decided to go into rap? Who were some of the people you looked up to, or people you interacted with that gave you game?
Yeah, man. Like the one who gets the most credit. What's a couple of them, but the one who gets the most credit. Well, put it like this. I'll give it to you in stages. It was Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five that was my introduction to rap. Hearing rhyming and me falling for it and thinking like, oh man, this is special. Like, what is this they're doing? And I like it. That was the introduction to just the music, right? To just hearing the art form being done from an MC's perspective, hearing the Furious Five. So then Ice-T, being from Chicago, we had a radio station called we had a station called WHPK, and every Wednesday, and I want to say Wednesday night, Friday nights, and I think it was Saturday, they would always play hip hop, and Ice-T was the man. We talking like 83, 80, 83, 85, something like that. And I was heavy into Ice-T.
Yeah.
So, he was just like that guy to me. He used to be him and his DJ Glove. That was his name. And actually my name, Ice Gree, was inspired by Ice-T. Because back then you were either you had cold in your name, fresh, or ice, And so I had my nickname by my name being my government name being Greg. In grade school, they used to call me Gree, like that's Greg without the G, just Gree. That was my nickname. So when I started rhyming, I was so inspired by Ice-T. I said, I'm gonna be Ice Gree. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that came from. And then later, a little past that, once I absorbed Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, I was inspired by Ice-T. Then I literally wanted to be LL Cool J, like LL. Like I want, if it was a way I can turn into him, I was trying, and it was just his level of confidence and just how sure he was, and his level of just like b-boy. He was just such a super b-boy to me, like the way he You know, he had the braggadocio kind of, you know what I mean? And I was really inspired by LL, and somewhere in all of that, I found myself.
Yeah, LL Cool J, the GOAT.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Okay, sorry, we were having a little, but yeah. So you said Grandmaster Flash. You said.
Yeah, I said.
So you said Grandmaster Flash. You said Ice-T and LL Cool J. So
Hello?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was listening.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, great. So with LL Cool J, he just recently dropped a new album. I know you're big on adult contemporary hip hop. We're going to focus a lot of this conversation on that tonight. So how does it feel to see a legend like him come back and have the impact he's having right now? Like, he's got the song with Eminem that's going crazy. You got the song with Fat Joe and Rick Ross that really hit the stage. So from your viewpoint, what's it like to see him back out here doing this?
Man, it's amazing, and I think it's like he honestly, my words, he's better now than he was. He's better now than he was then. You know what I'm saying? His skill level, his the sharpness of his delivery, his everything he's doing now is even better than he was doing before. So like, I love everything that's happening with LL Cool J right now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm loving the record. The album is crazy. The production, Q-Tip killed the production. In my opinion, Q-Tip absolutely murdered the production. And L sounds refreshed and revived. And he sounds like a new artist, man. And I love the fact that somebody with his tenure in the game, his age and his his iconicness can drop an album in 2024. He sounds so good. So it makes me proud, man, especially when you're speaking, with what I call adult contemporary hip hop.
Now, you come from Abstract Mind State, legendary group out of Chicago. How did you guys form that group, and what made you? What was the experience like when you guys first started dropping music?
Oh man, for Abstract, like, it was crazy because we were fresh out of college, and I came home before my partner in rhyme, EP the Hellcat. She and I were killing it down south because we both attended Jackson State University. Shout out to J State. I'm a proud alumni. We both are, and I came home before her though, and I started working with a lot of artists at home. And then she came home a couple of years after me, and we really just jumped right into it. And because I had like crazy experience and crazy relationships from my time at Loud Records and the work that I did at Loud Records at the time, in 95, I was at Loud Records. So I'm home now, like, say, I don't know, this is now like 96, 97, 2 years later or something like that, I should say. And we went crazy, we went crazy. EP came home by 98, I think it was. And we went absolutely bonkers. And we were able to impact very fast because of the quality of our production, how well groomed we were as live performers. We were excellent writers. We knew how to put together songs in a way that most underground hip hop artists at the time didn't know how to do, and we did. We were an underground group that knew how to make songs. You know what I'm saying? And that used to be at one point that was a hard thing to do for an underground hip hop act, to make a song that like radio would like or something like that. And we were really good at finding that balance, and we impacted at home fast, and we hit the scene hard, man, and gained respect, from the Twisters and Commons and Crucial Conflicts. All of the groups that were already signed and out immediately started embracing us, especially Common. A lot. Common really showed up at a lot of our, showed up at our events and stuff and supported us, and always had insightful things to say and give us his assessment of things that we were doing. So it was super dope, man.
Now you mentioned Loud Records. How did you connect with them, and what's some of the things you got the chance to do with them early on?
Yeah. So Loud Records was a great part of my life. The way I was able to connect with them, because I built a friendship or a relationship with the West Coast hip hop legends, the Alcoholics. So the Alcoholics, yeah. The Alcoholics were my friends, man. We, it's just the attending different things like Jack the Rapper and Freak Nick and all that kept putting me in line with the Alcoholics. And I eventually got tight with their management, a guy by the name of Anthony Andrews, who they refer to as Izzy. And Andrews, I called him Andrews. I called him by his last name. And Andrews always, like, he gravitated towards me. He thought I was a sharp young cat that had something. And he always told me to stay in tune. And he happened to say something that was special one time. It was getting close to me graduating from college. And he told me, man, he told me, if you move to LA, man, I can hook you up with a job at Loud Records. And at the time I was like blown away, like, what? Because this is 1990, late 1994 going into 95. And the Wu-Tang Clan had already, hit the scene hard, in 93, I believe it was. Yeah. And I was just like blown away, because by this time the Wu was superstars and the Alcoholics were like everything to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were like everything I wanted in hip hop from a West Coast perspective. So long story short, man, what he said to me is became true. He plugged me at the time with a woman by the name of Noah Ochi in the West Coast office, who was head of publicity, and she needed someone working in publicity under her. And man, she offered me that position because of Anthony Andrews plugging us. And I interviewed, and I impressed her. She saw I knew what I was doing, and I got my opportunity at Loud, man. And that was like one of the key things that allowed me to do to be so impactful in Chicago in the hip hop scene.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, because I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, so I'm very familiar with Chicago. Shout out to my family Doe out there. And at that time, there wasn't, like, we know Chicago today to be this powerhouse in the music industry, all these outlets, all this access available to you. But you're talking at the beginning, there wasn't all those avenues out there. What were some of the things you and other artists in Chicago did you think to really kick open the door and bring the industry your way?
Man, I think what happened was what happened was to really kick the door open for Chicago was first was actually the person that I was a significant part of his success, because all of the business that I just shared with you that I did with Loud Records, and all of the know-how, the experience, the relationships, the connections, because at one time, in order to get a record hot, you had to work with these they were called record pools. They still have record pools now, but not like they were in the 90s. In the 90s, man, it was significant. You remember that, right? We had the heads of record pools. You had to know these guys, and that's how they got your records to their entire regions, and stuff like that. And that's what I did at Loud. I serviced the record pools. That was one of the things I did. I serviced record pools. So I built relationships with those guys, and I took that. So when Abstract Mind stayed on our way up, we became one of the biggest underground groups in Chicago, and it got to the point that we hit a glass ceiling. So we signed a bad record deal with an independent, because my attitude has always been, my partner EP, she'll tell you, it was always about us being independent. We're gonna do everything independent. I had the mind state of like a Master P, or like how Cash Money carried it. I had that from the beginning. Since I was in college, I always wanted to do everything independently. So we signed an independent record deal, and it turned out to be super crazy, because the guys that was running the label, they were young, they were new to the business, they was new to getting money, and when they got advanced the money for our album, they kind of ran with it, and the distributor thought we was involved in that with them, and once they found out we wasn't, it was just a messed up situation, and we ended up clearing our name eventually. But I ended up saying, out of I guess frustration, I was like, man, if hip hop is in New York, I'm moving to New York. And when I moved to New York, a year before I moved there, I started I started building a relationship with an up and coming producer with ambitious to be a rapper, and that was Ye, you know. And he left and he went to New York a year before me. And I wasn't thinking about him. I went out there on this abstract mind state mission, forgetting that he was out there. And my man Cootie of the tandem, Cootie and Chike, who's the director of Genius, the documentary, the Netflix documentary Genius that was about Kanye. Cootie, that's my main man. And he the day I landed, my first day on the grounds in New York, he picked me up and we was tearing New York apart. We was all over the place. And, you know, at the time, Cootie hosted a show called Channel Zero. And I was about to be the new host of the show because Cootie was moving into film then. And he was trying to step out of the whole, he was doing comedy and hosting. And he was kind of moving out of that into more into film and directing. And the point is, he told me, man, one day there, then the second day, he told me, I told Kanye you was out here. And it was like, oh, man, you know, Kanye told me to bring you to the crib. I said, oh, man, I forgot he was out here. Yeah, let's do that. And that led to me bringing all of that to him. And Ye was telling me he needed a team. He trying to build a team. And I just brought all that business over to him, that business knowledge, information, and understanding and relationships, connections, and poured it into what he was doing. And it popped off and he became what everybody knows as the college dropout. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. Salute to you for doing that, to give him those connections and those relationships, like you said. What was it about Kanye that made you want to do that? Like you said, you know, he came to New York a year before you. You guys had a good relationship, but it's a lot for you to open up those doors. Those are blood, sweat, and tears that you put into building those relationships.
Yeah,
so what made you want to do that for Kanye in the first place?
Yeah, it's crazy because you would think like I was bigger than him at the time. I was hotter than him. I was more of a focus. My group, I should say, was more of a focus than him at the time as artists. You know, he was on the rise as a producer. I had nothing to do with the producer side of him, but everything, you know, to do in terms of with the artist side of him. And I just, man, he was, you know, everybody will tell you the early days of working with him. He actually was he had something special, man, and you can see in his eyes when he told you he was going to do what he was going to do. If you was a visionary or a dreamer yourself, and that's one thing that doesn't get enough credit, were the people he surrounded around him were equally as talented, equally they were visionaries, they were they were dreamers. So it wasn't that he was what to me his genius was surrounding himself with other geniuses. That was and I really know or believe that's what Cootie was trying to show in the documentary. Like it wasn't so much about him, but about everybody that, you know, that surrounded him. You know what I mean? So with that being said, going back to, you know, to fully answer your question about Chicago breaking in, everything was cool. We had Crucial Conflict, we had Twister, we had Common, we had Psychodrama, right? But when Kanye broke through, that really some about his thing, because it was like he brought that backpack, what they call, you know, what we call backpack rap. He brought that at a time where hip hop was mostly street. It was mostly focusing. That's an element. That's part of hip hop. That's part of it. That street or reality rap. He came in super backpack, super hip hop at a time where the street sound was dominating hip hop, and he broke through so crazy that it made the world pay attention to Chicago. So I just wanted to make sure I answered the initial question and just say that is when the doors really flew open to make people say, wait a minute, we need to pay attention. Chicago is doing something special or something different. And, you know, Chance the Rapper, Vic Mensa, and so many others were the results of the foundation that Kanye's success opened the doors for.
And it's really dope for you because, like you said, you're there day one, but then when good music comes around, you're the founding A&R for good music. So it's not. It's been a long-standing relationship. What was it like being an A&R for Good Music? You guys had some of the best artists, you know, be a
Yeah,
part of that legendary music
yeah,
as
one it,
A&R or like that.
yeah, I was the very first A&R of Good Music, and it was you know, when the label was in its infancy, and it was such a fun time, man, because you know, hip hop, you know, it was well before it went through what I say is dark phase. We're coming
Yeah.
up out of the dark phase for hip hop, because hip hop has, you know, had, unfortunately, the rap side of hip hop has went through like a very dark, violent streak, and now we're coming up out of that, and I'm loving seeing that right now. But at that time, man, it was so fun, and it was so, you know, to be the most creative and the most original was the best thing you can be at that time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
it wasn't about sounding the same or sounding just like the next person just to get the spins or the streams, I should say, and all of that. It was really about being super original and making your mark. And the most different and original person got the most attention. The most talented, let me add that, the most talented original person got the love then. So I got, you know, I got in the game. I got in the game a long time ago, but I had the most fun during that early 2000s, and that was that Rockefeller era. And you know, and I was fortunate enough to be in New York at that time, doing, you know, when Rockefeller was, when all of the cliques were popping. We were a part of that because of Ye's relationship to Rockefeller as a producer. You know, it allowed me to hang out, and I befriended people like Just Blaze. He and I became really good friends. I would sit with Guru, you know, every day and chop it up and talk. And I was in several Jay-Z sessions, and you know, all of the Cam and his crew, and you know, the whole Freeway and all of them, you know, Beans and all of them, like Benny Siegel, you know, many nights of just chopping it up with these guys and days and spending a lot of time around that clique. And it was just amazingly fun, because everybody was about, you know, being the best lyricists and the most original. So it was just a great time, man. Yeah.
Now in 2021, you come back with Abstract Mind State after 16 years. What made you come back, and how great did it feel to know that Kanye was going to help with the production and the response you guys got when you dropped again from the fans?
Yeah, so it actually wasn't, so like you said, at that time it was a 16-year hiatus for Abstract Mind State. You know, I was in the back, you know, I was in the background. I was doing behind the scenes work. I was heavy on the business side of everything, and actually enjoying myself and having a great time, because I was living, you know, I was living my dream, and I was living off of my dream, you know, and so I was pretty happy at this time. And my partner Rhyme EP, you know, at this time, she's heavy into her career in the mental health industry. She's a what they call a BCBA, which is a board certified behavior analyst, and she's doing her thing and found a new love in that. And it wasn't, and to be quite honest, man, thank you. And to be quite honest, you know, it wasn't our idea to come back. It actually was Ye's. Ye was the one who had this epiphany, or this, I don't know what happened, but he just woke up one day and decided during the I want to say we was working on Tiana Taylor's album, that KTSC, that Keep That Same Energy. Wow. Yeah, because this was during the time that we were recording what was famously known now as the Wyoming sessions, and that was when it was Daytona, Pusha T's album Daytona. It was Kids See Ghosts. It was Ye's,
Nas,
Nas Nasir, Ye's album that was called Ye, and then it was I think I'm missing one, but but anyway, during that time, what was it?
I was gonna say Tiana Taylor, I think.
Oh yeah, we started off with her. So yeah, that was the 5 albums. And Ye had this idea that hey, you know, he said, I think it's time that the world hear Abstract Mind State. Y'all music was always at a certain level. I wanna put y'all back on. He said, I think y'all gonna heal. He said, I feel you guys are gonna heal people and save lives. And you got to realize at the time, this was the Sunday service Kanye. You know, this was the like, you know, he was in his phase of really trying to heal and bring forth, positive vibes and all that. And my group, Abstract Mind State, as a hip hop duo, the only male female hip hop duo, we always were on that. And it was weird for me because you got to realize I hadn't been an artist, or it wasn't about me. Now don't get it twisted. I had never stopped writing because I always collaborated with him. I never stopped being creative because as an A&R, I was always put in a creative position. So I was always flexing my creative muscles. So I never really stopped being creative or being a writer and all of that, because I worked with artists myself, from R&B, pop to hip hop. And so I always kept that muscle, always exercised that muscle. And that's why it wasn't as hard as I first thought it would be when I got back into it, because it's like I didn't realize, man, you never really stopped doing it. You just stopped doing it for yourself. You were doing it for everybody else. So like I said, Ye came up with the idea that he said, man, I want to put y'all out. Y'all not going to have to play rapper. Y'all not going to have to do all the little crazy stuff that these labels make you do. Y'all gonna record in my studios. Y'all, we gonna get this thing done, and y'all can make a hip hop record that represents Abstract Mind State. And I was a little in disbelief. I thought he was joking, and he wanted us to be what the world didn't know. We were supposed to be the 6th album that came from the Wyoming sessions, and I'm happy that didn't happen, because I felt like we didn't have the tenure or background that like Nas, Tiana, Cudi, and him and and Pusha had. We, to throw us out, that would have been a little dangerous, because we would have kind of came out of nowhere, who are they? So I felt we needed a little bit more of a build up and a little bit more background checking, and let people know who we are, so they can learn that we actually are veterans and looked at as Chicago legends, and then introduce us. So that ultimately happened that way. We didn't come out right behind the 5th album during the Wyoming sessions. We recorded over the next 2 years. We recorded the album that eventually came out called Dream Still Inspire. And we were back in the game, and we got a lot of incredible press. We did all kinds of things, from Sway in the Morning, and that led us to getting attention of the Slum Village, because one of the members of Slum Village, a brother, one of the members, my man Young RJ, that's my man. Me and Young RJ we've had a relationship for like 12 years or so. And but it was never built on music. It was just built on energy and personality and friendship. But he looked at, they were watching us, and they was looking at what we were doing. And, one thing led to another, and we were offered a chance to go on the road, a domestic tour with them, what was it, the West Coast, and we did a few dates in New York as well. And it turned out great. It was like 12 dates or something like that, and we tore it up, we tore it apart, and yeah, man, and that just led to what we're doing now.
Now, are you guys already gone to Europe? Or are you in the process of going to Europe with them? I seen something about Slum Village and you with Europe. Has that already happened? Or
we did that. We went on and that's what's funny, man, and what's cool about hip hop, and connecting it to the earlier question you asked about LL Cool J. What's dope is when like LL, I've been hearing him say in interviews, hip hop is not a young person's game. It's a new idea game. And if you still dope, if you still good, if you still making good music, you still rap well, you can still do it. And that's what's happening with us. So because of what that West Coast, that West Coast run we did with Slum, it led to us being invited to go on a tour of Europe with them. It was a month-long tour. It was I want to say it was from thank you. It was from April 4th to May 5th, and we tore that thing apart. That was this year. We did that in 2024. Like the album came out in late 21. Dream Still Inspired came out in late August of 2021. So it carried right over into 2023. And 2022, I'm sorry. And then in 2022, we shot a documentary we had a documentary. It was shot on the group, and that was supposed to have been a promotional piece so people can understand who we are. Like I was explaining to you with the situation that I was talking about with Ye, like people just knowing who we are. So this documentary was put together, and it was supposed to have been a marketing tool, but that turned out to be when we started doing private screenings of the documentary in various regions. We went to 5 different areas doing screenings. We went to Miami, we went to Chicago. We actually did 2 screenings in Chicago. We did New York, and it was a press screen, and it was all press. We did LA, and we did somewhere else. I'm forgetting the last place, but the point is, I think we did one in Jackson, Mississippi, during our homecoming, at Jackson State. So that we end up in 2022 spending all of the year doing film festivals, because we entered the documentary into film festivals, and we started getting chosen as the premier documentary or feature documentary in various film festivals. So 2022 was all film festival run for us. And then in 2023, we started recording a new album with young RJ from Slum Village, because he wanted to take a stab at giving us the look that he felt like we deserved, that we didn't get from Dream Still Inspire. Because, to be quite honest, the ball was dropped on that album and how it could have been promoted, because Ye didn't really show any connection to the album. There was a few things that happened that kind of would have gave us the jump shot we needed, but it was so much going on in his life that it got it was like a huge distraction for Abstract Mind State. And unfortunately, we were victims of just not getting the support that we should have gotten, just letting it be known, just making the connection. You know what I'm saying? Not financially, because the financial support was there. It was just the connection of saying, hey, this guy actually is behind this group, and he's involved. And, like to this day, I mean, we have the only album in music, a full-length album that's produced from top to bottom, by him. His albums is not even fully produced by just him. He had his producers who was part of his team that contributed to all of his albums. But Dream Still Inspire was a solo. That was the first time he did a full album, not an EP, because those the Wyoming sessions were EPs. They were like 5, 6 songs, 7-song EPs.
Yeah, 6 songs.
Ours was, 6 songs. Yep. Yeah. Ours was a full-length album. That's the first and only one out, like that. So that's like a tripped out, a tripped out hip hop a notable thing, and the connection was never made, so that the album kind of didn't see what it should have saw because of the connections that wasn't made. So with that being said, young RJ, he felt like we deserved a better shot than what we got, and he wanted to take a stab at it and said, man, let's do that again, but I'm gonna produce y'all whole album. And I said, let's make it happen. So me and EP started going to Detroit. Matter of fact, I just got back from Detroit this morning. Like doing this interview with you, I just got back to LA from Detroit this morning, from putting the final touches on our new album. It's called The Art Project. Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing this interview since you just got home from, traveling. That's really dope. Now, you've been an advocate of adult contemporary hip hop for over 20 years. So for people who's not familiar, what is adult contemporary hip hop, and why are you such an advocate for it?
Yeah, so adult contemporary hip hop is rooted in the sound, the traditional sounds. It's a brand that I felt I came up with, because I labeled Abstract Mind State's music adult contemporary hip hop. 20 plus years ago, I started calling our music that, because I felt like we had a sound that was because of the sound of the music. Because even back then, the traditional boom bap hip hop sound didn't get as much love as like the commercial sound. So it's always kind of been that way, but we kind of lost traditions over the years. So adult contemporary hip hop doesn't have anything to do with age. It just has to do with the traditional sound of hip hop, the conversation. It's about high level of lyrical ability, creativity, originality, flow, cadence, and just that boom bap sound, whether it's street, whether it's soulful, whether it's just, you know what I mean? That's what adult contemporary hip hop is. And I've been waving a flag for that for the last 3 years. Ever since I wrote and submitted a proposal to have the rap hip hop core category expanded at award shows. That's the goal here. I want every award show where they have a rap hip hop category. Instead of trying to be a bitter individual, I'm just here to expand and make it more inclusive by bringing what I call ACH, or adult contemporary hip hop, to try to expand that thing to make it more inclusive. You know what I'm saying? So as well as I would like to see the call letters ACH become a format at radio, at commercial radio as well. So, it kind of opens up the sound to allow, the adult contemporary hip hop to have its own, maybe they'll have segments or something like that. But I'm actually working on all of that right now. And I've been waving the flag for that for the last 3 years. And, and we still going, man. And I'm just trying to galvanize and unite all of the like minds who understand or feel that this is something worth expanding the market, worth expanding and putting into the market. And all of us like minds, we get together and get behind this. And I'm just I guess you could say I'm just a front runner. I'm just a flag bearer for what's happening.
Yeah, and I gotta salute you on that, because when I was studying your stance on adult contemporary hip hop, you talk about Corday, you talk about Joey Badass, you talk about the legend. So I really love it, because I could see a situation have Razkaz song played and then Coach Contra played on the same station, like honoring people just barred up and really who are about to coach.
Yep. No, 100%. And that's a great example.
And it makes sense with the award shows, because all the other genres of music, they've separated them as they keep.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Unfortunately, what was that? Oh, okay. I thought you were saying something.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the rap hip hop category has been, what's the word I want to use? It's outgrown itself, because they're stuffing anything popular or anything hot that's on social media, or it becomes rap or hip hop, or it gets called hip hop because it's rap. It gets called hip hop. And like I say, I don't have a problem with that. I'm not here to take away anything that already exists or down other artists, these young artists that have found a new way and a new sound. I'm not even here to have anything to say about that. I'm saying, if that's what you all are going to have there, let's expand this category and include something we call adult contemporary hip hop, which would allow, like you said, Coast Contra. It would allow the aforementioned artists you said, including the J. Coles and the Kendricks and the not just regionally, you know what I mean, but just really having a space for that traditional hip hop sound, because it's a lot of young artists. I always mention people like Lady London and Tierra Whack, and it's several artists, man, that's like, that's just not your standard commercially. We're running Spotify numbers up, or we're the kings of Instagram and TikTok. That's not the focus or what ACH is about. It's just about the quality of the music and a specific sound. That's what it's rooted in. It's about the sound. So it would allow somebody like Razkaz to come back as a veteran and put out an album and still be right and still be in the same room with like his sons in Coast Contra. You get what I'm saying? Because so that's what this ACH thing is about. And at the same time, like the good brother and legend Ice-T, said on a post. I went viral talking with the brother Curtis King. Curtis King, he put together on his podcast, he put together a little piece, and we went viral on that piece. And man, everybody from Ice-T to Kool Kim from the UMCs and several other legends, Crooked Eye and all of them, they started reaching out. They started saluting me and saying stuff. And Ice-T said something so cool. He was like, man, I really support this. I feel like it would inspire my peers to continue to make music. And I thought that was dope because I never thought of it like that. I wasn't thinking that, although everything I do is rooted in motivation and inspiration and education, I wasn't thinking about the inspirational side. I was just really thinking about expanding this category at award shows. And I didn't think about like how just the idea of that sound being available to some of the legends and veterans, how inspirational that could be to them to make them even want to create new music, the way LL and MC Light and Will Smith and several others are doing right now.
All right. So it looks like you froze. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, you were fading in and out. Now, I want to highlight one other thing. You were recently on DigiWax. Shout out to my family, Radio Raymond T. He's been an advocate for adult contemporary hip hop himself. So I was really excited to see you two come on and have a dope conversation about it. How does it feel to see more people are starting to take this issue like you are? And, you know, what's some of the things we can do as supporters of this to help get it on the award shows or help make it that station you were talking about?
Yeah, man. Yeah, shout out to Raymond T Radio, you know, to Raymond T. That was Radio Raymond T. That was amazing. That was a really dope interview. I had a lot of fun. And I want to thank you and him and all of the podcasts that's been giving me a platform to get the information out. Because one of the things that's in life that's necessary is we have to have the information before we can understand. So there's no understanding without information. And you guys have been allowing me to get the word out and allow me to, I like to say, beat the dead horse, so to speak, because I have to talk about this over and over again until it permeates the community. And so, but anyway, like how the way you guys can help, man, is just like exactly what you're doing, supporting it, allowing me a platform to speak. But bigger than that, I'm going to move to the next phase of this very soon and start creating a petition so I can show on paper, because you know how everything works, man. Everything is kind of what I want to say. Everything is kind of there's a business side to everything, and when it comes down to it, you have to show the work, so to speak. So I'm going to create this petition very soon, and you know my hope is that everyone, you know, jumps on board and sign this petition, from the legends, veterans, and icons to just the individuals who actually see the vision and support this thing that we call adult contemporary hip hop. And so I can start resubmitting my proposal. You know, I want to go back to the Grammys and resubmit it again, because the way it works is once you submit a proposal, you can't do it again for 2 years. So if somebody that's been watching me on podcasts and they wonder, well, why you didn't come right back the next year, it's because you can't. You have to let it breathe. You have to wait 2 years before you can submit again. And it's not really just about the Recording Academy. It's about the American Music Awards. It's about the BET Awards. It's about every award show, you know. And I would be remiss if I didn't send a shout out to the Hollywood Independent Music Awards, Brent Harvey and his organization, because they saw my vision last year. And I submitted the proposal to his award show, which is a big award show here in Los Angeles. It's not a small thing. It's the production quality of it is equal to the Critics' Choice Awards, right? And he accepted my proposal and added adult contemporary hip hop as a category, and I was able to give an award away in that category for the past 2 years, in 2023, and I gave away one in 2024. You know. And it was amazing, man. And I just thank the Hollywood Independent Music Awards for seeing the vision with such an incredible platform that they have, because that award show is really major. And I think I personally feel it's going to become one of the most important award shows because it specifically focuses on independent artists. And it's not, for them, it's not about awarding artists with the most streams or the most visibility or even the most popularity or who's hot on social media. They only care about the quality of the music. And if it's submitted, if you submit your music to the Hollywood Independent Music Awards, their board takes a listen and they choose, you know, who they feel is the best of the best. And that's all it's based on.
Yep.
It's based on pure talent and quality, nothing else. You don't have to be hot to get an award.
No relationships, none of that.
Yeah, no relationships is not built on that. You know, as a matter of fact, I had no idea I had no idea who the people were. I didn't know them. I wasn't friends with them. It was all business. I submit. Now I can say that I've built a relationship with the founder, Brent Harvey, and I you know, it's somebody that I would call a friend now. And I was invited to the year after that, like just what it was 23 this year. I was invited to be a part of their advisory board. You know, so that was great. So that in itself shows how you know just stepping out the things that can happen. So. Man, I'm just trying to be impactful with this adult contemporary hip hop thing and create space for some artists who probably wouldn't have never got recognized.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. So if there's a legend out there, we got access to legends. Do we have them contact you directly? Is there a website they go to? What's the process to bring more name star power, I guess, to this movement? Because I think if you get like a Cujo Goody and Goody Mob, you go out there and start shouting it out. If you get, there's a lot of opportunity with that. So what's your process?
I've been, you know, since you know, I like to use social media in the most positive way I can, because we know it's been abused and it's been used in some weird ways. But I would say the first step is just of communication would be reaching out to me at old school _ Ice Gree on Instagram. And because I check all of my messages, and you know, when I see the legends like Cujo Goody and all that, I connect and I say something to them, you know. And my handle on IG is as OLSKOOL _ICEGRE, Old School Ice Gree. And the first phase for anybody who's interested in the legends, icons, veterans, or even some of these newer acts that's tearing things up, and they just want to let me know that they're in support, and whenever it's time to galvanize and move, that they're in the number. All they got to do is reach out, reach out and let's make the connections. And I'm gonna always be posting and on my site, so they will be able to see what's going on, as well as we've been made the connection, one-on-one, and I'll be able to keep them informed. So as it goes to the next phase, their I guess you could say their star power, so to speak, would benefit the movement.
Well, the Hype Magazine definitely supports you. Shout out to Sincere. She helped set up this live or this interview with you, but I know Jerry Dobie just interviewed you as well. And we're definitely going to help with what you're doing. I love it. You've had a very successful career, a lot of connections you've highlighted in this interview. You got any advice for someone who wants to be in the music industry, either in front of the camera or behind the scenes? Any advice you would give them now?
Yeah. Definitely. One of the since you asked that question, some of the best advice that I feel like I can give is, if you want to be in front, don't be afraid to do the work in the back, because if you do the work in the back, ultimately it will push you in the front. Everything is not about being out front. My advice would be, don't approach this business or anything you're doing only with the mind state that it's all about being in the front, because it's really about being a part of something special, being a part of a team, because you have to be a person that understands how to work in a team in order to be successful in this business. So, and being on a team means that it's not going to be about you all the time. You'll get your moment, but it's going to be more about the movement that you are creating with your squad or your team or whatever. So the advice I would give is, don't be afraid of the work, because everybody wants to be the one or be out front or be, the face or whatever. Just don't get so caught up in being the face, and get more into the work, and then it'll put you out front without you even trying.
I can speak to that too, because I come from the background as well, and I got pushed to the front as we kept moving forward. But you're right, it's fun in the background sometimes. Like some of the
Yeah,
best
yeah.
times you have in this industry is behind the curtain. When you're in front of the curtain, that's when all the stress and all the stuff comes your way.
Exactly. You can get a lot of stuff done without being judged or questioned or challenged because you're not right in everybody's faces. So by the time they hear about it, a case in point is me sitting here talking to you right now. You know, I've already I've been waving the flag for adult contemporary hip hop for 20 years, right? I'm not saying you got to wait 20 years, but for the last 3 years, I've been doing the leg work, and now here I am right now. Now you're starting to see who this person is just now, 3 years after the work.
Yeah.
So again, just a perfect analogy. Yeah. I'm just saying the work will put you in the front. So, you know, because there's other people who had the idea or thought about this or used the term or something like that, but they didn't. I like to say I did the work though. I did the work. Yeah, I did the work. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you mentioned Abstract Minded. You said you guys got a new project on the way. Any release dates? Any videos? Anything we can circle on a calendar for you to make sure we support when it drops?
Yeah. Actually, it's Abstract Mind State, but yeah, we have we actually have a video.
Sorry.
Yeah. We have a video out now called True Story. It's just it's one of it's for, we shot it in Paris while we were on tour with Slum Village, and that's on YouTube right now. We do have a new single that'll be coming out. I was told we're gonna try to get something out around November and maybe had an album out around February. We're gonna wait till after the holidays and get the new album out. But in the meantime, yes, we'll have a few singles between November and the new year. You will see a couple of new singles from Abstract Mind State from the project, and we're just gonna, start building momentum and get people excited for the album in the new year. So I can't say maybe first quarter of the new year we'll get the album, or at least that's the intentions. And you should be seeing some new singles in the coming months.
Okay, dope. Now, how important is a team to you, and who are some of the team members that make everything you guys are doing, possible?
Oh man, a team is everything. A team, nothing successful is a one-man show. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I got to shout out my team. Like of course, Abstract Mind State, me and my partner EP, we're a team within ourselves. But then there's people like Lee Majors, who is my cousin and our road manager, and he's kind of like my guy, my go-to guy for several various things. Just what we're doing business wise. And then there's Trezana. Shout out to Trezana McClendon, who holds down like the film side of everything that I do, as well as, she's just a super advocate for Abstract Mind State. So Trezana is the one who directed. She's an Emmy Award winning television producer, and she directed our documentary, We Paid Let Us In, The Legend of Abstract Mind State. That's the documentary that was doing the film festival run in 2022. And we're working on a new documentary now about our tour in Europe. It's the European tour documentary. And so we're working on that now. So shout out to Trezana and, my man, Neeson, who is like, that's one of the people that's a part of our team, who shoots all of our visuals. He's an everything guy. I call him just like he's a young Renaissance man. He's really doing a whole bunch of things. But if you're on YouTube and you Google Abstract Mind State or search us and look at the 3 videos we had from Dream Still Inspire, Neeson directed all 3 of those, and he did an amazing job. He's a real creative guy. So shout out to Neeson. And definitely the Barack with Love family, which includes like Young RJ and RJ Rice and Dee Dee and shout out to T3, because the Slum Village family has welcomed us and made us, and put us down as family, as their hip hop cousins, and they've been holding us down and supporting us in a way that we always dreamed of being supported because I mean Slum Village are Detroit legends. You know what I'm saying? I mean we talking a group that the foundation, you know, the foundation of what Dilla, you know, and stuff like that. And they just embraced us, man. So the whole Barack with Love family, you know, shout out to them as well. And like that's the team, you know what I mean? So you know, it's nothing that I can do like just by myself. So it takes a team.
Yeah. Definitely. Now, what do you want to say to your fans and supporters? Like you said, you've been in this game over 20 years. You've had a lot of successes, either yourself or people you've helped. What would you like to say to the fans now?
Man, I would just say to the supporters, thank you so much. Those who have supported and came out to the Abstract Mind State shows. I'm talking worldwide because we got a lot of love out there in Europe. You know, thank you to Europe for being supportive and giving Abstract Mind State a chance to rock and tear it down. And you guys really showed us a lot of love, and all the supporters, you know, in the United States that just have supported the documentary, came out to the private screenings, and we're still working to even get the documentary on one of these streaming platforms so everybody can enjoy it. And I'm just grateful, man. I'm just grateful and thankful that, you know, that for the time that we didn't put in this, we're still enjoying our 18 and 19-year-old dream as grown-ups. You know what I'm saying? I just feel grateful.
Yeah. And then last thing before we get out of here, anything else you want to make sure we mention or cover before we end this conversation?
Yeah, man. I just, you know, as always, I just want to say repeat as much as I can. Follow me at @oldschool_icegre. That's OLSKOOL_ICEGRE. My name is pronounced with a long E. That's Icegre, not Gray. You know what I'm saying? And you can get more into me at I refuse to quit. I refuse to quit.com is my actual website. I have a book. I have a inspirational autobiography where I share a lot of jewels and experience that I think any dreamer, visionary, or somebody that want to be in this game, I think it will really inspire and motivate you to really go for it when you see all of the ups and downs that I went through and I didn't give up. It's called I Refuse to Quit, and you can go to IRefuseToQuit.com to check that out. And yeah, man, that's what it's about, man. It's all about abstract and adult contemporary hip hop, and I refuse to quit.
Well, I'm definitely going to get the book as soon as this is over. And we'll be posting the video. Once I'm done with this interview, I'll go grab the video you said, post some clips for you. And then I'll reach out to some of these legends we know to help spread this word, man. So like I said, I really appreciate the efforts you're doing to put adult contemporary hip hop on the platform it deserves to be. And I just appreciate your time tonight.
Man, thank you for having me. I'm very appreciative and grateful, man. Adult contemporary hip hop is real and it will happen.
Yes, sir. Salute.
Salute.